Are we like kind of matching?
Yeah, dude.
I haven't changed my shirt since yesterday, and I did sleep in it. So that's just.
I mean, yeah, you're kind of wearing my color, so I don't think I'm in the wrong.
All right then.
No, I'm just kidding.
Okay.
I've had a really bad week.
Oh no. Last week we were we were about due for a bad week, weren't we?
Dude, I know. I mean, we knew it was coming.
We really did.
But it's fine. I really liked this film.
I did too. I'm excited to talk about it. I just have all my notes on my phone because I didn't feel like just transferring them. So
I know mine are kind of very messy stream of conscious, but
mine are too. They more follow the flow of the film than any like overall things.
Yeah, I didn't even bother putting it into categories. I just have like what I want to say about what happened in high school.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to type that out because I don't want to ramble and I don't want it to, I'm worried that this is going to be one of those episodes where we have so much that we want to articulate, but we can't.
Mm-hmm.
And so I wanted to type that all out. So it's kind of long, but hopefully it won't be like, oh, I have to go into work tonight.
Oh, geez. What time?
It really doesn't matter. They just need somebody to help close.
Okay. So you know how for my birthday you gave me that Barnes & Noble gift card, so I got the collector's edition of A Court of Thorns and Roses. So her other series, Throne of Glass, which is my other favorite, also has a collector's edition. So I had like $120 to Amazon, so I got some stuff for my apartment, but then I just got a bunch of books, and I got the Throne of Glass collector's edition, and look at how pretty that is. And then on the inside, on the page, like on the chapter headings, it has like her sword and stuff.
That's cool.
Oh, I'm obsessed. Although, you know what I hate? Book covers like this. I'm like, why do you have to call me out with abs on the front? I'm like, that's just fucking rude.
Did you watch Women Tell All?
I did, yeah. They're just still fucking mean girls. I'm like, why are you coming at Katie? You know, if there was an audience there, they would have never tried that because everyone would have been booing the absolute shit out of them.
Yeah, it's like the one person that actually tried to stand up to the bullying. They were like, let's hate on her.
Yeah, I dislike so many of them. Brittany handled herself so well.
I liked their little moment too, her and Anna.
Yeah, like I think, you know, they're able to move on, or like hopefully. But I felt really bad for Brittany of her just talking how when she got home, she like didn't want to see her family and stuff. And oh, that's just like the shit that you don't think about. And like clearly that Anna didn't think about, you know?
Right. So. And apparently Heather was on, but they just completely cut her out.
No.
It's like that poor girl. They did her so bogus.
Did you hear all this stuff though with Taylor Nolan? Did you watch Nick Vile's season?
Yeah.
The one that always went against Corinne for her emotional intelligence.
Oh yeah.
Have you seen any of the tweets that she had that have been uncovered? I only know about this because of Chatty Broad. It's Becca M's podcast from Ari season. So they were talking about it. So Taylor, who's from Nick's season, who has been like a big advocate, she's always like criticizing everyone else in Bachelor Nation for like their apologies ripping them apart. People found not just like one tweet, not 5 tweets, not like 10 tweets, but tons of tweets, like some of the worst shit that I've ever seen. Like Chris Harrison, like she makes Chris Harrison, Garrett, Luke P, she makes all of them look like perfect people with her tweets. They're disgusting. Like I looked them up and they're all on Reddit. Like someone started a thread of them and she offends virtually every single person there is to like offend. It's Jesus. It's the most disgusting shit ever. And yeah, I'm just like, excuse me, so you're always coming to Bachelor people. And she's a mental health professional, and she made jokes about suicide and saying that if you have like a personality disorder, one of them was like, solution for if you have a personality disorder, ? And then she responded to herself with suicide in all capital letters. And I was like, Jesus Christ. She made jokes about rape. She made jokes about Jewish people. She made jokes about every minority group there is. She made fat phobic jokes. Like, literally, she crossed the gate. When I say it, that like I think she offended everyone. I think she like offended literally everyone.
No.
So yikes! That was the big Bachelor Nation tea that I was looking up this week.
Well, I have no words, honestly. I think we're going to have to find a new pre-show topic because The Bachelor is just so not it. I mean, we have the finale next week or whatever. Is it even the finale? No, it's Fantasy Suites.
Yeah, I know. We're going to have to find something else. And also, I'm just like over it. I'm just kind of over The Bachelor.
We all know who wins.
Yeah. So,
whatever.
Yikes.
Should we get into it?
Let's jump in. Let me pull up GarageBand here.
3, 2, 1. Buckle up.
Because it's going to be a long ride.
It's going to be a wild ride.
No one cares, but we're going to tell you anyways.
This is Popcorn Chats. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Popcorn Chats. I'm Katie.
And I'm Michae. We are continuing in our International Women's Month theme of March by
Votes
covering
for women.
Votes for women. We're covering the new Netflix original film Moxie. It's an Amy Poehler film, and our lovely Miss Tessa is in the movie. So very interesting seeing a familiar face, a familiar Popcorn Chats face back on the big screen.
When Miss Langford popped up on my screen, I was like, oh, Katie's about to get triggered. Well, you kind of warned me, so then when I saw her, I kind of wish that, honestly, I wish she was in it more because I wanted more of that character. Yeah. Because we've talked about before that we're like, hero, maybe we could see him going on and doing some other things, but I distinctly remember Katie saying, like, Miss Langford, I think that this is it for you, this kind of role. But this, like, I don't know, I liked her in this, and I would like to see her in more. So I think it's just like after Put a Bad Taste in our and I mean, like, are we in the wrong for that? Like, I'm gonna be a little skeptical going forward, but that doesn't mean that I'm not gonna give her a chance. Mm-hmm. And I was, like you said, pleasantly surprised. So yes, we're talking about this film for many reasons. One, we love women on here, and it's Women's Month, so we're gonna cover it. It's like our type of film. If you're fans of the pod, that this is the type of thing that Michaela and I would gravitate towards. We love some feminism thrown in. Another reason why we were drawn to covering this film is because our high school experience, which now is many, many years ago, which is so crazy. But Michaela and I, obviously, you guys know, went to the same high school. The boys at our school did a bracket every March that ranked women similar to how they do in this film. It's not the exact same thing, but in Moxie, the boys come out with a list that rank the girls at the school, similar to also like 13 Reasons Why, if you guys remember like the first season of that. It seems like it's a very popular thing for boys at schools to do, which is like, what the actual fuck? But this really did happen at our high school. If you guys listened to the Cheetah Girls 2 episode with Delaney, we talked about it there. We just like briefly drunkenly brought it up. But Delaney was like, remember that time our school made the news because the boys made a bracket, and that's true. Our senior year, we were on the local, it was the local news, so it's not like we were on CNN or anything. No, but when I got to Disney, one of my roommates had heard about it. Like, they knew that had happened, and then I don't remember how it got brought up, but it was somehow brought up, and they were like, oh, I have heard about that before, so it wasn't, like, it did have reach, like, it wasn't just... It wasn't national news, like, not everyone knew about it, but she did not live anywhere close in the Midwest whatsoever. Right. Michaela and I have, like, a personal experience with this situation, so we just want to talk about it, and we're excited. Mm-hmm. First of all, let's do our catch up. How are you? I'm fine. I'm having a very average week. Obviously, I was gone last week from work and stuff, so that's been, keeping me busy this week. I don't know. I've just been busy with getting stuff ready for my move. I don't know. I've kind of been taking a break off of TikTok a bit. I'm just like, it's just like more, it stresses me out every time I go on there right now rather than like making me happy. So I'm on like the more book talk side of TikTok because obviously, as I've talked about here before, like I make paintings for books, and just like that side right now, there's just like a lot of people constantly like attacking each other, and it just stresses me out.
So I've taken a break from that and I miss it, but at the same time it kind of feels good to like not
That's
always
good.
have that. But because I've been busy, I haven't been reading this week. And that's like stressing me out because I'm like, I haven't read a book yet and it's March 3rd. And I just don't feel as much like myself without having time to like read. And I haven't painted either. So I'm just kind of in a bit of a creative funk. But Katie, I had a breakthrough idea with my retelling. Let me tell you, this is like occupying all of my brain space. I lay in bed at night and I'm just like laying there and I'm just thinking about this and I roll over, opened up my voice memos, roll back.
Am I allowed to put this in the pod or is this another like lock and key?
Oh no, you can bleep out.
Okay.
Actually, I don't really care. Yeah, no, block that out. But anyways, one of my story ideas has been really like having a moment in my brain, even though I don't need it to right now, but it's come to me, so I'm gonna roll with it. But
I love that. I can't wait for that.
Anyways, how are you doing, Ketty?
Well, we all know that I was due for a bad week because I'd been having a surprisingly good February. I mean, part of it is my own doing. I had a bit of a rough night of drinking. And by that, I mean, I don't go to the bars. I'm staying home. So that just makes it even more sad. Like I was drinking alone, which, I mean, if you do that, that's fine. But I don't think I'm the type of person who should be doing that. I don't want to make excuses, but I was watching the Billie Eilish documentary and it just really did something to me. I sort of spiraled and was not measuring the shots that I was putting into my little mixed drink. Had to deal with the fallout of that. Work drama and all that. It's just a bad situation. I obviously owned up to everything. Whatever. I'm being very like vague, but I have a lot of anxiety about that whole situation. Another reason why it's a bad week is because I mentioned last episode that Kyra and I are coming out with a film called Know About Us to fundraise for her organization, KLJ Movement, and that was supposed to be coming out this Saturday, March 6th, and I just finished it yesterday, like completely wrapped it, so it was done and ready to go. And normally when I'm doing videos for clients, I will upload them to YouTube via an unlisted link, which just means it's a private link, so only you and the person that you send the link to can see it. And as soon as I uploaded the film, it got blocked worldwide, and that's never happened to me before, like because of copyright, and I had a bunch of copyright claims and everything. I was like, oh, no worries, I'll just like share it via Google Docs, whatever. But then I started thinking, I was like, oh my god, you can't profit off of stuff that contains other people's copyrighted materials, like websites like YouTube and Vimeo, which Vimeo is the platform that we were going to be uploading the film on. They have an embedded software that can detect copyrighted materials. The film will most likely like not even play on Vimeo once we upload it. People won't even be able to view it. Because of that embedded software. Aside, too, you can get fined like $30,000 if you're profiting off of somebody else's work, which the odds of that happening are slim because that would take somebody like actually going out of their way to track it down. But most likely, yeah, you don't want to take that risk. And also the embedded software is going to be enough of a barrier. Yeah. As it is. So
that was me with my paintings when I uploaded them to that first website because they're quotes. So like, yeah, I could get sued.
So right now we're in the process of contacting the publishers of each of the songs and trying to acquire permission. I don't even know because I still feel like the software on Vimeo is going to be a barrier that won't even let it play, even if we do have the rights. It'll be nice just to have the rights so that we don't have to worry about that wherever we end up distributing it. Yeah, so I apologize, guys, if you did hear last week's episode and went and pre-ordered, but you'll see it. Like, don't worry. You'll see it eventually, and the money's still going to a really good cause that needs these funds. It's just going to be postponed a little bit. The film is done. It's ready. It's very good. In my opinion, the dances are amazing.
Now it's just like the logistical stuff.
Right. Yeah. It's we're beginners. We're new filmmakers, new young creators. So I'm hoping that people are understanding. So whatever. Let's just get into this because I'm excited to record.
Yeah. I don't know about you, Katie. I didn't even do a standout star for this movie because I felt like the entire cast was great. Like, I don't really think that I could pick out necessarily like one over the other. I genuinely liked everyone. Even fucking Patrick Schwarzenegger, whatever his character's name was. Like, he played that character so well that I'm like, if I saw him in real life, I'd want to run the other direction. Because he's like, you scare me. Maybe we should just give everyone like some background information on our high school experience. Do you want to?
First of all, I want to do it with disclaimer. We're not going to be name dropping anybody from our high school. We know that people from high school do listen to this podcast. And if you're here for that, that's not what this is going to be. We're also like not trying to call anyone out or like shame anybody. I think it's unfair to hold people to like who they were in high school. I've changed so much since high school, so I wouldn't want somebody to like think of me as I was in high school and like put that onto who I am now. We're just gonna be talking about things as they were at the time, and I think we're allowed to be hurt by the actions of people from the past, but I'm not saying that like these people are bad people.
Well, and also here's the other thing too. I don't know about Katie. I harbor no ill will towards literally anyone. Like, I can't think of a single person right now that I harbor ill feelings towards. This is not something that I still think about. At least for me, there's literally no hard feelings here. It's just like, this happened and it relates to this film, so we're going to talk about it. But this does not like impact my everyday life. I'm not like sitting here crying about it. Katie isn't either, but I mean, it's relevant to this topic and to this podcast today. So we're going to talk about it. I never had any direct issues with anyone, even at the time. You know, it was just like we knew who was doing it, but like me personally, I never like had a conversation with any of these people. So I don't know. It's more like just looking back on it and just being like, literally, what the fuck was that? More so than like, I'm really upset about it. But if people are upset, your feelings are valid. I'm just saying, like, me personally, I don't have any ill will towards you.
It's just upsetting to look back on and be like, why does this happen? And it's still happening. And I think too, I don't sit around and dwell on it either. But, you know, when people ask like, what radicalized you?
That is one of the things.
Bitch, this fucking radicalized me. Like, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. This was my thing that began my catapult into becoming the liberal, sexually fluid feminist that I am now, that you all know and love. How did you get here, Katie? How did you become your conservative father's worst nightmare? This was the beginning. That's all the preface I will give on that.
Can I just say, I remember when this happened, I was homesick or I was gone for a couple of days. So when the actual bracket came out, I was not in school, and I wasn't in school until like a day or two later because I missed one of our teachers that Katie and I both loved, and we both had her class. She like apparently went off at her classes and was like, what are you guys doing? This is disgusting. And she shared a very personal story, and she's like, obviously, and she's like a grown up at the time. At the time, she's still a grown-up, but like she was like, this is disgusting. I have personal experience, and like brought this up, this very serious history. And then so I came back like the next day in class, and everyone was just kind of quiet. And I was like, what's going on? Like, this used to be like a very fun, boisterous class. And then I learned about what she said to everyone. And I was like, oh shit. Like, that was just like, it was a lot to come back into.
Let's just get into it. Every March at Sun Prairie High School, where Michae and I went to high school, the senior boys participated in a March Madness style bracket that ranked the women at our school. Each year there was buzz about it. Like, I heard about it since I was a freshman, you know, all the way until our senior year when it was happening to our class. And each year people were like talking about it and kind of upset about it. And it was this controversial thing, but it wasn't a big deal and nothing really was ever done about it. And for some reason, our senior year, things really escalated more than they had in years past. And like we mentioned, the local news got involved and parents got involved. I remember there was like a Twitter feud between parents and the woman who was a journalist, a news reporter. And they were saying like, stay out of our kids' business and you have no right to be distracting them from school, and you're making this a bigger deal than it is. And I remember teachers talking about it. Some of them were, like Michaela mentioned, very upset about it and denouncing it and just saying that the boys were very wrong to be doing what they were doing. And then some of them were telling people to focus on school and that we were making it a bigger deal than it was and you're giving them the attention that they want and blah, 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 just let it go. It really had everyone divided. Basically, what ended up happening our senior year is certain women ended up walking out and refused to attend class because the administration chose to do nothing, as they did in the years past and in years subsequent.
Did they still do it when Aaron was in school?
They did. So my sister, her year, I'm pretty sure people were suspended, or at least one person was. And there was like this hashtag free the kid's name or
Get
whatever.
out.
And then my sister is actually in school to become a journalist. And she chose to do a school project for her bachelor's degree or whatever about the bracket at some prairie. And she actually went back recently. She went back and interviewed some of the staff, the principal and the students at the school about it. And the administrative staff was very like, oh, it doesn't happen anymore. And the students were like, it does.
Mm-hmm.
So,
because even if the administration isn't aware of it, it's probably still going on. And they very well could know about it and just choose to turn a blind eye.
Yeah.
Like the administration in this movie.
Do you have a standout scene?
Guess I would say like the walkout at the end.
Yeah.
Like, I guess I'll just say because that one got me emotional. I mean, like, y'all already know, I do not cry over anything in real life. It's very hard to make me, like, emotional. But books, movies, TV got me. I cry at the drop of the hat with those. And I did this final scene. Miss Langford pulled some tears out of my eyes at the end of the film. But it was just really touching, like, seeing all of these women walk out. And then as Vivian is talking about being Moxie. And then everyone's kind of piping up. And then when Josephine Langford's character then says, like, I wrote the note, and she goes up and she tells her story. And it just, like, it really got me emotional, got goosebumps everywhere.
And when Seth had Vivian written on his arm, I was like,
Stop.
We love an ally.
Yes, I know. Seth, get out of here. Oh, he was really great. He was a great little addition to this film.
Yes, there were so many cute moments. I also liked when the teacher had the stuff on his hands.
I know. Well, first of all, I just don't know what it is with that actor. I don't even know what his name is. But whenever he pops up on my screen, I'm like, why are you everywhere?
I know. I'm like, why are you literally at everything?
So I was like, what are you doing here? And then when he was like, this is a woman's issue, so I'm not going to get involved at first, I was like, oh, so you're one of them. And then when he held up the stars at the end, I was like, see, you know, it just sometimes takes people some time to see the light. And I think that's why I did like in this movie too with Claudia's character, that just because someone isn't like super outspoken, or like everyone can do activism in their own way. Yeah. And some are louder, some are quieter. And I think just as long as you are aware and like that you are fighting for these issues, that like no person should be put down for the way that they're an ally, as long as they're just like trying to help. Claudia was facing a lot of pressure, and then we saw when she was trying to wear that tank top out with her mom, and her mom was like, no, you need to get back upstairs, like especially as children, or like teenagers still under the guardianship of your parents and in high school, you know, like you do feel more pressured to follow their beliefs. And I know for Katie and I, we didn't really start being like outspoken in our beliefs until we were out of our parents' houses and we're on our own and we're able to kind of form our own opinions and be free to express them. I liked that it just showed those different forms, that some people it takes a little longer. Some people, you know, they just are going to register the club. Some are going to be out there like speaking in a megaphone. Like as long, like there are a lot of people who have to do a lot of parts to make a difference.
Right. Yeah, I really liked that too. I liked how it showed people can be redeemed for things, like the teacher being filmed, not really knowing what to say. That easily could have just like taken him out of the movement and just like I made him feel isolated and like, oh, I'm canceled now and like screw that group, you know. But it was nice to see that like he did genuinely care about it and didn't just want to avoid being canceled or avoid getting in trouble for saying the wrong thing. It's not like he was labeled by the film as a bad character. He was redeemed. And then same with, like you were talking about her friend, like we can't be policing each other how to be activists. Like at the end of the day, we all want the same thing. And maybe some of us are further along on like the education about the topic, or we've taken different paths on how we've chosen to fight for what's right, but there is no one way to do things. There has to be like love and understanding within the movement. Otherwise, we're not gonna get anywhere.
I think we live in a society right now where like instant gratification is like a very big thing, and everyone needs, like, when you can converse with anyone at any time, the desire for a response is like instant. So some people, like I think with the teacher, he needed, like in that moment, whatever he was gonna say was not gonna be the right thing to say for him, and like I think he knew that in that moment of like, whatever I say is gonna kind of come back to bite me. You know, some people need time, like you said, to learn, to educate themselves, to form a more informed opinion, and then can make that known. But I think too with news cycling so quickly, like everyone is not up to date on things all at the same speed. So just like the information dump that is constantly being done to all of us is a lot to process. And I think that people need to like take that time in order to respond how you want to. I don't really know where I was going with that. It was more just, I don't know.
Well, there were a lot of like sweet moments too of female camaraderie that just kind of like, I love moments like that in film and television, that camaraderie of like the cast and different types of people coming together. But I thought in this movie, I really loved them forming the club and all of them coming together. Like when she first goes into the bathroom to try and scrub off the markings on her hands, and then she sees the other two soccer players in there that have it on, and they're like, no, this is cool. And like I liked that moment. And when they all decided to wear the spaghetti straps, it's just heartwarming to see women from different backgrounds and different kind of like cliques in the school coming together. Each of them are being affected differently. Like the young woman who was taken out of class because of the shirt that she was wearing, that's not an issue that is shared by every woman in the Moxie group. Same with the athlete who was trying to fight for that scholarship. Like they're all going to the mat for each other, even though certain issues don't affect each of them personally. They're able to recognize, maybe not even fully, they're not even fully conscious of it, but they're able to recognize that we're going to do this for her because it affects all of us at the end of the day.
I felt so bad for all of them in different moments, but especially the girl wearing the tank top, because I was like, oh girl, I get that, because there are so many shirts that I see and I see people wearing, and I'm like, I would love to wear that, but I'm like, if I did, I would look just so, I don't even, like, vulgar almost in a way, just because my chest is bigger. Like, I know you guys can't tell, I'm always wearing sweatshirts and sports bras, but it's like, I have a large chest. So there are many shirts that it's like, I would like to wear, but let's say one of our friends, I mean, girl, you already know, but like one of our friends could wear that and it would never look sexy on her. It would just look like a shirt or like a deep V cut or something, and it would look cute. But if I wore that, people would be like, you need to cover up.
Yeah.
And I liked that they had that other girl sitting right there and being like,
we're
literally, look at this.
Thing,
Why are you not saying anything to her? That principal. Again, then we got the 50 Shades lady in there.
I know.
I was like, we're just pulling people from everywhere.
Yeah. She was a real annoyance in this. But I mean, I was glad to see a lot of this stuff really resonated with the experience that we had. It was very truthful. So
I would have liked at the end if when the principal went in to get Mitchell, if instead of just being like, oh, Mitchell, you know, I wish she would have been like, Mitchell, like, hey, like more angry rather than just like defeated. Because I'm like, you almost sounded just being like, really, now you're making me deal with this, instead of being like, you did this. I don't know. There was something about that maybe I'm just reading too much into it, but I was still just like, I don't trust you, administration lady. You know who is the underrated superstar of this film, though?
Who?
The copy guy.
I loved him. he was such a joyous presence.
When she walks in and she's like, I'm gonna need a shitload of these, and he just looks at her like,
how many is that?
yeah.
He's so cute.
And then when he made the stickers, yeah.
He's so sweet.
He was really cute. I liked him.
But the student athlete ambassador thing, tell me that is not something Sun Prairie High School would do.
Oh, 100%.
They found every motherfucking roundabout way to be like, athlete of the week, but athlete, student athlete superstar, student athlete, like everything was about the athletes.
Guys, Sun Prairie had, our high school athletics were like next level for them. I don't know what was up their asses about it, but it was annoying.
I mean, just like so many high schools. I don't know many high schools that aren't like up every athlete's ass. Like him calling the teacher by the first name, like that is just so something that the stupid athletes would do. Like, what's up, Trisha? Like, okay. I don't know why I said Trisha.
Another random thing, let the woman bag her fucking groceries. The dude at the grocery store, get out of here. You know, I think then, you know how then he was like, I remember you, and made a stink and walked away. I was like, but you know what? Yes, maybe you did have nice intentions going over there, but it's like, you should understand that, like, some women are not going to take that the right way, that they are going to take it as you trying to belittle them in a way. So it's like, just, if a woman asks for your help, by all means. But if not,
take a walk.
Yeah. Or the way I'm thinking about this, I'm going to have my mattress delivered the day after I move in. So my parents are going to be over here and they're literally putting it outside, like, because I don't want to pay for the upgraded delivery service. Men, if you are walking by me trying to move a mattress into my a king size mattress into the apartment by myself, please stop and help me out.
Yeah.
But then also please get out. Don't expect to stick around for a beverage or a snack.
There were so many just like subtle call outs about things that I personally have thought of. Like, why do we still have to talk about these shitty books? I love The Great Gatsby, so I'm not going to hate on that book. But I do understand the point that it was written by a drunk old white guy about the struggle of an old white guy. I've felt that way about a lot of books that we've had to read. It's like, can we just move on? Like, I think we can all acknowledge that, like, this did a lot for literature as a whole, but, like, there's so much else out there. Truthfully, how this country and, like, the world came to be, and, like, the stories of other people. Like, we all know the white man story. Now, we all get it. The thing we don't really, the one side of the white man story that we don't get is the oppression that they've inflicted on these other people. So I agreed with that sentiment. Like, can we move on? I felt that way a lot in film school. Like, why are we still watching these movies? Like, okay, I get that they were revolutionary for the time, but like, why can't we watch something made by a woman? Why can't we watch something with more female characters? Why do we have to be watching people in blackface? Why do we have to be watching Native Americans be portrayed this way? Why do we have to be watching women be treated this way on screen? Like, there has to be better examples of this. I think you can still teach the same point and move on from this shit. I don't understand the point of that.
Or even, like, balance, if you still want to be teaching, like, classics like Jane Eyre and The Great Gatsby, balance them with more diverse books then. Don't just do Jane Eyre, The Great Gatsby, Wuthering Heights. You know, don't just do those books. You know, include more diverse picks then, too. Because also, let's be real, too. How many high schoolers like reading those books?
Nobody.
Because it's not written in the way that most people want to enjoy books anymore, you know?
Right.
I have not found a single classic that I've ever liked. And I mean, that's on me, because I would rather read about dragons than read about that. But I don't know. It's just like, you can, who's making you do this at this point? Right. I mean, probably curriculum, but also let's get on with things. Give students more of a pick in what they want to read. One small thing, when they go shopping and they pick out their tank tops and they're like, oh, we need to, like, document this to get people excited. They take one photo and they're both like, cute, and upload it.
Not accurate. Yeah.
No. Do you know how many photos Katie and I would have to take of ourselves to find one that we're both like, that's good? And even Katie and I would never be like, that's cute. We'd be like, that's borderline acceptable.
You're like, I mean, I don't want to die looking at it. I'm just going to put trigger warning here. We are talking about like sexual harassment, sexual assault throughout this episode because the film does deal with it. I think just the whole sentiment throughout the entire film by a lot of different groups of people of like, don't fight back, it's harmless, it's just the boys being dumb. Even the main character, Vivian, is like, oh, just if you just put your head down, like he'll leave you alone eventually. The teachers were saying that, the principal was saying that. It was just a sentiment brought up a lot throughout the entire film of like, it's not that big of a deal. And no, it is a big deal. These boys are about to go to college and be a part of the real world. Like, when is it appropriate to start holding them accountable?
Yeah.
After they rape someone? Because even then, men are rarely incarcerated for raping a woman.
They constantly refer to Mitchell as being annoying, and then it's someone always correcting and saying that he's dangerous. I kept thinking about like Nate Jacobs in Euphoria, of being like, this is another example of a teenage boy that people are writing off as being, you know, like a dick, or just saying like, oh, he's young, you know, he's not fully mature yet, when he is a dangerous person. And like Mitchell is a dangerous person. And like Katie said, we can't wait until after something happens to someone to then try to correct it. And like we can't wait until boys are in high school to start correcting what has already been embedded in them since they were born, and stop always putting it on the women. Like, it's the women's shirts that are making the men distracted. It's women's fault. Like, it's women's responsibility to watch their drinks. It's women's responsibility to walk in pairs. It's women's responsibility to not drink too much. Like, why can we just not teach men to leave women the fuck alone?
He's annoying until he does something harmful, but the behavior is harmful. It was harmful all along. It was never just annoying, and women constantly have to modify their emotions and responses to things. So to say something uncomfortable like the harassment that Mitchell inflicts on a lot of different women in this film is annoying. That's like putting that on women and enforcing that, oh, he's just bothering you. He's doing that because he likes you. He's just messing around. How many times did you hear that growing up? He's just doing that because he likes you. No, it's not annoying. He's hurting me. Like, that so often. I can't believe that, thinking about that. That's so often the response to, he was mean to me, or he pushed me down, or he hurt me. Oh, he just likes you. Like,
why did that become the narrative?
Why?
Ever? Yeah. I mean, I know where that started, but it's, how did we just accept that? It's always up to women to like de-escalate the situation, or up to women to make men feel comfortable when men have made women uncomfortable. And again, why is that put on us? In order to like let someone down easily, in order to not have them hurt you, because I'm not exaggerating when I say that, that you, just a woman saying no to a man could get her hurt or killed. Like, that's not out of the realm of possibility. We see it happen all the time. I'm thinking of like the walkout at the end when they were like, you're gonna get expelled if you do this. And it's like, why are women constantly punished for, I'm going to put in quotes, disturbing the peace, when it's only like challenging the oppression that's happening to like minority groups? Yeah. Like, even when you think of like the protests over the summer, last summer, like, why is it always that like minority groups are punished just for, again, quote, disturbing the peace, when they're just challenging the oppression that has been put on them by society? Like, why do people find that so wrong and upsetting, that how dare these people speak up and try to demand better for themselves and demand better of society, to treat them fairly, or to treat them just with the basic respect of a human being?
It's probably because you benefited from the oppression and you're outing yourself.
Yeah, if you're mad of like these groups finally getting the basic rights, resources, respect, treatment that you have gotten, if you're mad about that, reevaluate. Like, I don't know what else to tell you.
Take a serious bubble bath where you just think about what you've done.
And again, as I'm saying this, it's like Katie and I are not even like, Katie and I've said multiple times, like, we are not perfect people. Like, we're always figuring out how we can be better allies and better activists. And I just think, like, you need to be challenging these things. We need to be talking about these things. And yeah, it's going to make people uncomfortable, but there's literally never going to be change if we don't make people uncomfortable.
Recently at work, I work with a lot of boys. They always say something that really bothers me. They're always like, you're the type of girl that... They say that about a lot of different girls and a lot of different women. They're like, oh, you're the type of girl that this, you're the type of girl that. And I get really upset when they say that because, first of all, I just met these guys and I said, I'm not the type of anything. I am my own woman. I am an individual. I don't fit into any category. And then also a couple weeks ago, a guy asked me if I was like a baseball fan or whatever, because Jack plays baseball. And I was like, yeah, my boyfriend plays baseball. And I got the age-old question, name one team. I'm like, the Brewers. Name another team. The Cardinals. And it kept going on and on. I'm like, I'm not taking your little test. I don't have to defend being a fan of something. I don't need to pass whatever fucking test you designed in your head to prove to you that I enjoy something. Mm-hmm. Maybe I don't know every name of every Packer player that's ever existed. I enjoy watching the Packers from time to time. I'm not jerking off to fucking Packers games, but I like the occasional football game. Mm-hmm. I don't need to explain why I like something or why I dislike something. I'm not any type of girl. I am just a person living in this world. And I would appreciate it if you left me the fuck alone and stopped talking to me about literally everything.
Katie and I have talked about this, like, why do women have to defend the shit that they like? And this isn't even, we're not even getting into, like, the fact that things that women like are then deemed as being, like, stupid or dumb. I'm not even going to touch that because we've already talked about that before. But just women having to defend the things that they like and enjoy by proving a certain amount of knowledge. I guarantee if he was asking another dude at your work, like, hey, do you watch baseball? And he said, yeah, he'd be like, oh, sick, did you see this game? He would never question him because of course, like, oh, he's a dude, he's got to know everything about baseball. Out of here.
Because it also affects men too. Like, just because you're a guy, you shouldn't have to know everything about every sports team. Maybe you just like one specific, maybe you just really like tennis, and that's fine. If a guy's like, are you a sports fan? And you're like, yeah, I really like tennis. They're like, no, like,
it's a sport.
I want people to understand is like, when the teacher was like, well, this is a women's issue. No, it's a feminist issue. Feminism, everybody should be a feminist because gender equality benefits everybody. And join the cause.
And every man has some woman in their life. Like a mother, a sister, an aunt, a cousin, a girlfriend, girlfriends. Like, you don't want the same shit that you want for yourself. Why?
Because you're benefiting from the oppression of the women you claim to love. I wanted to bring up a TikTok that I saw literally today. It was so perfect for today. It was a guy being like, my biggest fear is that I'll be wrongfully accused of sexual assault and my entire life will be ruined. No.
I don't even want to fucking... That... You know what my biggest fear is? Actually getting sexually assaulted. So.
And that's way more likely. Actually, men are more likely to be sexually assaulted than they are to be wrongfully accused of sexual assault. Statistically, men are way more likely to actually experience sexual assault than they are.
Also, you get wrongfully accused, you go to court, you're probably getting off anyways. So what the fuck? Oh, and I just read Chanel Miller's book too, just like a couple weeks ago. Oh, life-changing. That book was fucking life-changing.
I need to read that.
If you have not read it, I just bought it. Where is it? I just bought it from Barnes and Noble because I was like, I gotta own this shit. Like this. This book was seriously life-changing for me. Already like my favorite book I've read all year, and I don't think it will be topped. And that just made me so angry. Get the fuck out of here, dude. I'm glad I can't see your face.
1 in 5 women. That's the statistic. So I will just leave that there. You have nothing to fear, you piece of shit.
That dude can fuck off. Do you know how many men in power, our fucking last president was accused of sexual assault by like 27 women, and he still was the leader of our country for 4 years? Shut the fuck up. Or like even right now with Andrew Cuomo.
And Biden's creepy too. I mean,
Yeah.
every man is weird. Men at, like old ass men at the gym get too close to me. A, pandemic. Please step the fuck back. I'm literally just trying to do my job. B, don't call me sweetheart. You are visibly old. Like, I can tell from a mile away that you are old. And I might not be the hottest bitch in the bunch, but I am young. We are definitely decades apart. You don't need to be publicly calling me sweetheart. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And not just old men. Any men. Don't talk to me. Don't perceive me. Until further notice, I'm no longer being perceived by men.
I still need to find myself a boyfriend. So, men, my door's open, but I have specific qualifications. I'm very picky, so
serious inquiries
we'll
only.
We'll discuss. I'm gonna lighten it up here a bit again and say that I would actually really vibe with this date of picking out caskets because I've literally had my funeral planned since I was maybe 9 or 10 years old. People, I'm not exaggerating. I've had a will since like a very early age. I've always thought about dying. Exposing myself out here. But it got me thinking, Katie, have you thought about how you want to be disposed of? Like, do you want to be buried? Do you want to be cremated? Do you want to be in one of the wall things? Like, what's your vibe? Or maybe you haven't thought about this.
I haven't thought too in depth about it. I really don't love the idea of being put in the ground. It's a little hard, but maybe cremated. I don't know. I haven't thought about it very much. Maybe like a mausoleum.
The walls.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was a thing until just like last year, maybe. I think it was actually you. Was it you when you were talking about, was it your grandpa?
My grandparents are in one, yeah. Together.
I think that's how I learned about
cute.
it. And I was like, what is that? I did not know that you could do that.
It's kind of nice, but also weird because like my grandpa would go visit my grandma and he'd like see where his little spot was where like he was gonna go, and I was like, eerie. You can be buried with me.
Okay.
Honestly, we're probably gonna blow up somehow. Like there's probably not even gonna be a burial for us. It'll be an empty casket.
Well, see, I don't want to be buried. I don't like the idea of being in the ground, and I don't like the idea of being in a wall. So I want to be cremated, and then, but also I don't want anyone to, I don't need them to keep my ashes, because I think about that if I ever have a child, so they're gonna like obviously keep my ashes. But then like once it gets to grandchildren, it's kind of like, what the fuck are you gonna do with me? You know, I don't want someone to have the burden of constantly having me. So I'd more like for people to just like spread them doing fun things. Like if I die anytime within the next like 10, 15 years, Katie, I want you, Allie, and Olivia to go to like Spring Awakening.
Oh, hell yeah. We just throw them out.
Yes, and I want you to take some of my ashes, spread them around the grounds a little bit. You know, you might have to be on the lowdown of how you sneak them in, but
when the beat drops, we like just like puff it into the air.
Tsunami, Martin Garrix is up there, plays Tsunami, just like drop, just shaking me around the crowd.
Or you put, like, what is this, cocaine?
You bring like a little bag and just plaster my face on it and just hold me up.
Yeah.
You know, I do think about that a lot, and I actually really liked that date. I thought that was awesome.
I know. I was like, this is so random, but also like unique, you know? How many first dates are there in movies? Like it was kind of a nice way to shake it up.
I think too with the guys at our high school and the guys in this movie, when they rank women like the best rack or most bangable, that they think that they are complimenting women and that they're complimenting these girls. But you see when that girl sees that she's voted best rack, she zips up her sweatshirt because she's like, I don't want that kind of attention. Most bangable, obviously we learn at the end that Miss Josephine, that title was very hurtful for her, that I think like men think it's a compliment when it's like you don't realize how hurtful that is or how negatively that can affect a woman when you say something like that. Or the best ass too, then how they're talking about how that has a history in racism in our country and how Black women are often like sexualized because of their bodies or like discriminated against because of their bodies. And you know, you're not doing, like, these men aren't doing these girls a favor.
A very common thing back when this was happening at our high school when people would get upset about it was, oh, you're just mad because you're not on it. And Michaela and I were not on the bracket. I mean,
Clearly.
and I don't. I think we're very beautiful. Every woman that we went to school with is very beautiful. Yeah, that sentiment of like, well, you're just sorry. Like when the one girl got named like biggest C word or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then he was like, sorry that we don't think you're hot or whatever. It'd be like if somebody was speaking out against the Miss America pageant that Trump like looked in on and they were like, that's wrong. And then them being like, well, sorry, you're not hot enough to be in a Miss America pageant.
Yeah.
You're just mad because you weren't there. And Trump didn't think you were hot enough to objectify you. Like, you're not even hot enough for us to objectify in that way. I had a boyfriend all throughout college, so I constantly tried. I eventually had to go to different tactics, but my naive freshman self was like, I have a boyfriend. They're like, you're lying. And I'd be like, no, like, I really do have a boyfriend. They'd be like, well, you're ugly anyways. I'd be like, okay.
Fuck off.
Have a good day. Like, I'd rather be ugly. I'd rather you not talk to me at all in the first place. If that means that you'll leave me alone, great.
I'd like to have a drink and dance with my friends and talk with my friends and not have you be here.
Yeah, it's like there literally is no excuse good enough. And I'm allowed to be upset about something. Again, just having to justify things.
And you shouldn't have to have a boyfriend just to get guys to leave you alone.
Let the guy down easy. Just everything is like making sure that the man is okay. Like the whole trans people using the bathroom that they feel fits best, and people are like, well, men are gonna put dresses on and go and rape women in the bathroom. It's like, so that's not trans people's issue. Problem. Straight men are the problem. Right? Like that's what you're saying. I can't believe that like now men can't do anything, and like I'm scared that I'm gonna be wrongfully accused. And it's like, why, when people start bringing up stuff that they're uncomfortable with, do we have to constantly be like, no, it's okay, men, like, don't worry, you're not
you.
If you're a decent fucking human being, you shouldn't have anything to worry about.
This admin in this movie just fucking sucked, and she didn't care about anything until it started to directly affecting her when they were putting the asshole stickers on her car. Like, she didn't care whatsoever until it started to make a bigger deal that then she had to deal with. I mean, I think that's how a lot of people respond, and like I think how our administration was, if they were more just like, we want to kind of get this dealt with.
Yeah.
So that it can get out of here rather than solve it.
Yeah, and like when my sister went back recently and was interviewing people, the administrative staff that she talked to was very like, oh, it's not an issue. And she asked them like, do you think this contributes to rape culture and all this stuff? And they were like, I don't think so. Like, it's really unfair to jump to that conclusion. Like, at the end of the day, like, not as harmful as that and all this stuff, and just really playing it down. And I remember they like sent out, when it happened to our class, like they sent out a newsletter or whatever to everybody, and it's just like damage control, really, at the end of the day.
The last kind of main note that I have on this kind of overall is just that, so I did look up some reviews just to see, you know, like what the response was. And I was actually surprised they were like pretty mixed, of like there were quite a few negative reviews, and mostly saying that it felt like they were just like checking off boxes in this film of having like different inclusivity representation, and that it was just kind of like a mixed bag, and they were like trying to do this, but it felt kind of short. And I mean, obviously, like, everyone's opinion of a film is their opinion. As Katie and I have said before, like, we are not critics, we are enthusiasts, and we're only talking about what we personally thought. And so, like, obviously that's fair that these people came to that conclusion, but I just couldn't help but think, if this film would have been out when Katie and I were in high school, like, I do really think that this could have been a film that would have been very beneficial for me personally to see these young women being feminists and activists and banding together to fight against this culture that has been created. And because back in high school, like, I did none of that. I was not outspoken about anything, and also I was undereducated as fuck. Like I have a conservative family, and obviously like Katie and I have talked about, like where we grew up is very conservative, and so there was just nothing like this, and there was no content being made like this. And I ultimately think that this film's purpose was just to like empower young women, and like it's targeted at a younger audience. And I don't know, like, is it obviously like a critical masterpiece? No, but also again, I don't think that that's what they were trying to do. I genuinely think they were just trying to like spark conversation and empower young women, and hopefully men too, watching this and being like, oh yeah, I should be like Seth. You know, I hope men are watching this and boys are watching this and being like, we should all be like Seth. So I would hope that they accomplish their goal in that. And negative reviews, sure, some of the stuff that they said, I was like, oh yeah, I could see that. But also I just ultimately think that its real purpose was to hopefully empower younger women and that are dealing with these situations, and maybe, you know, are like the Claudias who don't have the family support to speak up, or like the Miss Langfords who again like don't feel like they can speak out when they have been assaulted by a boy who is in a position, I'm gonna say like a position in power, even though he's not. He's a high school student, but yet he's put on a pedestal. I don't know. I wish that this movie would have come out, or that we would have had something like this when we were younger, because I think Katie, you and I would have benefited from it a lot.
Oh yeah, for sure. I can kind of see where critics could see that, where like they were checking off boxes about like inclusion and stuff. Like they had the young woman in a wheelchair and like people of color, but I mean, I don't want to speak for people of color, but it felt like they weren't just there. It didn't feel like they were just there to be there, you know, like I thought the characters were like substantial, and each had their own like background. It wasn't just like the witty black friend or whatever, you know, the
comedic relief,
or anything like that. They were kind of like the heat behind the Moxie movement. But again, I don't want to speak on behalf of the Black community and be like, good job, you included the black representation, yay, this film gets an A+. Obviously, I'm not saying that. But I think there's something to be said about the way that this film handled this topic. You know, you can't make the perfect film nowadays that like answers the call for all of these things that people are calling for now. Yes, this followed a young privileged white woman. They chose to tell a film about something that does happen in high schools, and they covered it in a pretty well-rounded way, I will say. Like, again, I'm glad that it wasn't all the boys were like the losers and the bad guy at the end of the story. Like, they weren't all complete antagonists. There was opportunity for redemption, there was opportunity for growth and learning, showed a lot of different perspectives, and it resonated with, as somebody who actually did go through something very similar to this situation, a lot of things felt very true, like how multiple women were trying to approach the administration and their lack of action, and just a lot of it was very truthful. And so I think there's something to be said about that. They chose a topic to cover, and I think they did it in a fairly like authentic way. So authentic, we love that buzzword. Let me paint a picture for you all. It's March 2015. I was coming off of a horribly dramatic breakup from a long-term high school relationship, and it was so dramatic because like the whole school knew about it. Just your classic, like, the world is ending, even though it's not a high school drama. His group of friends like really did come at me, so to speak. And they were spreading vicious rumors about me. They were bullying me online. And, you know, it kind of went both ways. I was I was very immature at the time and did not know how to deal with everything that I was dealing with. And so
our friend group instigated shit, or we more retaliated. I mean, like when his group of friends started posting shit online, then me and some of our other friends started throwing shit back. Like, it's nothing that Katie and I would condone now, but at the time, you know, we were teenagers. Like, and I hate to brush that off and just be like, we were teenagers. But in all honesty, like, we were just all fucking immature.
But a lot of the mistreatment that I received from that group of boys was like deeply rooted in misogyny and sexist stuff, and the rumors that they were spreading about me that were untrue. Yeah, it was just not a good time. I received a lot of like mistreatment from a group of boys. I was also, during this time, the men's basketball team manager because I was like, I'm gonna try something new. My new life. I faced harassment during that experience as well. I'm not going to go into super big detail because, again, this was like a long time ago. It was just a bad time. I experienced that from like multiple groups of boys, and it was just not fun. So I'm hearing this word feminism get tossed around, okay? My girl Emma Watson, she's speaking at the UN about what it means to be a feminist and everything. Like, everything she's saying is really resonating with me. And I'm just like, yes, Hermione. And then at that time, feminism was like not chill. Like, people were like, feminism is bad. At least in our town. It was
like feminazi. Like, that was what you heard all the time.
Yes, it was very unpopular, had a very negative connotation. But then at the same time, I'm dealing with this horrendous stuff that I'm dealing with in high school. And I realized that it was all deeply rooted in misogyny and that these men were facing no consequences for what they did. You know, I was being bullied online to the point where I was in a very, very dark place. And then same with the harassment that I was experiencing when I was the manager for the basketball team. Like, I felt so alone. Like, no one believed me about what I was saying. Like, I was so often the only woman in a room full of men and boys, and I just felt like powerless to everything that was happening. That's when I embraced the idea that I was a feminist. When this bracket came out our senior year, that was the damn straw that broke the camel's back. I was on one. She was. I mean, I was very upset about this. So, one of the boys who participated in the bracket tweeted, any girl who's upset about the bracket needs to get her shit together. And I tweeted back at him because this was back in the day when I had no filter on Twitter and I was like always starting Twitter beef, which again, like immature. Guys, I'm not saying that I was like this
a role model, but it is what it was. It was what it was.
I mean, I was like not this super badass, like ahead of my time. I was so mature, so uneducated. Like, trust me, I'm not the perfect person, especially back then. But then I tweeted back at him and I was like, any girl who isn't upset about the bracket, I did that little asterisk, like, isn't upset about the bracket, needs to get her shit together. And he responded, of course, sorry you're not on it. And that was, like we said, the going narrative and, like, the comeback that was thrown around. Like, you're just upset because you're not on it. Why are you mad about women being objectified? Like, you're just not hot enough for us to look at you that way. Like, I don't give a fuck about your little list. I'm being harassed by an entire team of men. Who are you to say? No, I am experiencing this. This is a real thing. I'm allowed to be upset about this because I know that it's a real thing. I experience harassment. I've been experiencing it since a young age. Like I said before, how many times did we hear, oh, he's just doing that because he likes you? Every woman has dealt with this shit. And, like, even since high school, graduating, like, the amount of times I got groped in the fucking club by a guy, like, passing me, the amount of times that I, like, had my hand tight on my goddamn pepper spray when I was just trying to get that bag being a fucking pizza delivery driver, I feared for my life half the time. I was sprinting through the streets trying to evade these creepy-ass men.
I lived a block from campus, and I refused to be on campus past 4 p.m. because I was like, I don't want to be walking home. Because, guys, we live in Wisconsin. It gets dark really early.
Yeah.
Like, it would be dark by, like, 4:30, and I was like, I can't walk home past 4:30 by myself.
Right.
Like, I just want to put for people who don't know, Katie did not give a fuck that she was not on that bracket. And if she was upset about not being on that bracket, she still would have been valid in that. I'm just putting that out there, that Katie did not give a fuck that she was not on that bracket. I did not care. None of our friends cared. I think there was one of our friends, actually, who was a little butthurt that she wasn't on it. But, you know.
I mean, you're allowed to be upset about it, too. Like, just... Yeah. It's literally the boys that were our classmates. We're forced to go to school. There's no choice. Like... You don't have a choice in being at school, and
no,
they're looking at all of us that way and putting, like, establishing our worth in their eyes in the way that we look.
The guys were like, well, the girls could just make one of us. Like, none of us would care if you guys made one of us. And it's like, none of the girls wanted to fucking do that. Like, why? Why would we want to do that? Like,
yeah.
just... It was just like, why? I don't know. No one feels that that's necessary because we know that that's fucked.
Yeah.
And like,
Well, it's
why
just
did
like I don't feel compelled to do that.
No.
Even in the film, you see them talking about it, like right at the beginning, Vivian and her friend, about being like, oh, I think she's going to get voted this. And it creates this mentality of like perceiving things through the male gaze and like ourselves and our self-worth through how they perceive us, and vice versa, seeing each other that way too. And like, oh, she's worth less because guys don't, find her attractive or whatever. Like, that's why high school fucking sucks, okay? If you're in high school listening to this, bitch, it gets better. It gets fucking better. And also, start a goddamn revolution at your high school because you probably have a better time with it than I did. When I tried to walk out and no one came with me.
See, but like, does it though? Does it though?
Does it get better? I mean, in some regard.
I'm still waiting for that. But anyways, too, it also just like pits women against women. Like, society already pits women against women, but then again, in this case, it's doing even more. And I think in our bracket, it was even worse than in the movies because it's like March Madness style. So it's like 2 girls, 1 moves on, and then it's like 2 girls, 1 moves on, and then it's those 2 against each other. I don't really remember creating animosity between any girls, but like it very well could have. I don't know. I don't remember that happening. But also, I was trying to think back on this happening, and I know that it happened, and I do remember certain things. Or like when you brought up that tweet, then like I totally remember you getting in that fight. But it's like I don't really remember like anything super specific about this. Besides like that news reporter tweeting with kids and then the parents getting mad about it. Like I don't remember if any girls were upset with each other. Like I don't think so. I would hope not because
well,
it's all the boys' fault anyways.
So basically myself and a small, very small, when I say small, I mean like 2 other girlies, group of women went to the principal's office and we showed her the Twitters of the tweets. We showed her like all the stuff that literally was like, these are the guys doing this. What are you gonna do about it? We don't want to be in class with we had class with some of these guys. We don't want, like, what is the school going to do about this? This has been going on as far as we know since we were freshmen and probably even before that. When is this going to stop? And we had a female principal at the time. And she did nothing. She said there's nothing we can do. There's no proof. Those boys could just be like retweeting it. Like basically she was saying, and again, this was like a different time in the internet world. I feel like now it'd be different. But she's like, since they are not tangibly holding it in their hands, we can't trace it back to them and prove that it was them. The best thing that you can do is just not give it the attention that they want. And one of the girls like broke down because she, was really upset about it. And like, we just felt so alone, I had to come forward about the harassment that I experienced on the basketball team. And I had to have like some really uncomfortable conversations, people that just resulted in nothing, like no consequences for any of the men involved. And it's bigger than this piece of paper with a list of girls whose names weren't even ours. It was a bigger situation. We were really just looking for like the administration to be on our side about something, and they weren't. And so I got up and I walked out of school and I called my dad. I don't know why I called my dad, but I called him and I said, I just walked out of school. I don't care if I'm in trouble when I get home. You can either call me out or I can just like get in trouble with the school too. And I'll be in trouble at home and at school. So I really don't care, but I'm not going to the school while they're being like this. And he was like, okay, I'll call you out. So God bless my dad because he called the school and he called me out. And I came home and I cried. Yeah, honestly, like nothing ever got better. Like there's no happy ending to this story. No. I will just say though, like the most surprising thing of all was that I got backlash from other women at the school, like people defending the guy that tweeted back at me and like being like, oh, he's my friend, like he's a good guy, and like you're just starting drama, and like I don't even get why you're concerned about it. Like if you're okay, so you say you're not mad about not being on it, so then why are you so upset and all this stuff, and literally just being gaslit by the entire fucking school, it felt like, again, after this whole breakup situation and the harassment. Like, I don't know. Even if that stuff didn't happen, I had a right to be upset about the bracket. If you're upset about, if you feel uncomfortable about something, it's okay to be uncomfortable about it and to speak out about it. And if people are, I can't hold that against the women who were being like that in high school, because it was a result of internalized misogyny that like a lot of women deal with. I mean, I've dealt with that personally too, and I don't know, it's just something we all have to overcome. But
I would like to think now that those women, you know, wouldn't defend him.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Wouldn't, like, I would hope that they wouldn't. And I would like to think now that more women, myself included, would walk out with you. I mean, now I would, without even thinking twice about it. But at the time, I don't really even remember. I remember you walking out, but I don't really even remember, like, ever having a conversation about it.
Well, and also I skipped a lot of class anyway, so it wasn't even that big of a deal for me. And I mean, no, you never like skipped class with me because you know, your parents would have gotten mad at you.
I have strict parents, guys. That's like you in high school. It never hit me until college, like my freshman year of college, when I first like experienced harassment. I didn't really experience. I did in high school at work. I worked at the Family Video, as we know. R.I.P. It's now completely empty. I'm so sad. But I mean, we had a lot of male customers, and they often got, or like not often, I would say like there were a select few that would often get extremely flirty with me and one of the other women that worked there. And I remember telling one of our male coworkers once about this one guy who like really creeped me out, and I hated checking him out. And he was like, well, he's married. When I told him that he would like flirt with me and make me uncomfortable, he's like, oh, he's married. And that doesn't mean that he can't be creepy. We had this one guy, I'm gonna name drop him because I don't fucking care. His name was Pedro, and whenever Pedro would call on the phone, you know I tried to avoid that phone call, because he would come in and he took a picture of me on his flip phone one time, and I called him out on it, and then he also took a picture of my manager on his phone, and he took a picture of her when she was like reorganizing movies on the shelves. Like, he just always made us very uncomfortable, and that wasn't until like I was 18, 19 that started happening. And then I remember my freshman year, one of my classes, like the second day of class in college, one of our professors just asked, like, if you consider yourself feminist, can you stand up? And only one girl out of the like 45 person lecture stood up. And like, I didn't stand up because, again, at the time I thought like feminism was a bad thing, and I didn't want to like out myself on the first day of college. I was like, oh, I can't like say that I'm a feminist. And then by fourth year I was in gender comm, and I was like raging at everything. And you know, like, it just, like we said in this movie, like, it takes certain people time. And again, like, it shouldn't have taken me experiencing harassment be more passionate about it, or like to even care about it, I should say. Not even be more passionate. It shouldn't have taken me getting harassed to care. But I mean, that's what it did for me.
Again, I'm not trying to say like I was ahead of my time, you know. I wasn't. I was kind of, I think it was more me being fueled and on this like crazy.
You had a lot of shit happen senior year.
Yeah, I would be lying if I was like fully fueled by like the feminist movement. I was very much in a rebellious stage in my life and just kind of mad at the world. So, you know, I had a lot to learn still. Yeah, I don't know, but this film really resonated with me, and it gave me hope for the world, and I
really just hope that women watching this, you know, feel more empowered and know that obviously like there is power in numbers, and to like band together. And when you see someone experiencing harassment, especially like if you are a woman and you see a fellow woman experiencing harassment, that you not only let her know that you're there, but then also support her if she wants to speak up about it or do something and come forward. And that we as women just need to be slower to judge other women for things. And I hope that, you know, like, I just hope that young girlies watching this feel the power.
Yeah, feel the damn power, and your worth literally does not need to be derived for anything other than what you want it to be derived from. Like, if you're a badass soccer player, then you're a badass soccer player. If you look hot in a goddamn tank top, you look hot in a goddamn tank top. And if boys are distracted by that, that's their own fucking problem, not yours. Let's just lift each other up and empower each other and keep learning and listen to each other's experiences, you know? Because the female experience is very broad, and there's not like one version of it, as this film portrays. Overall, 5 out of 5 stars. I enjoyed it.
I did too. I was excited to wake up and have a new movie to watch today. I enjoyed it too.
Amy Poehler too. We didn't really talk about her enough, but she was very funny. Cool mom.
She was.
Cool mom. We love a cool mom. She was finally the cool mom that she was trying to be in Mean Girls.
Oh my god, this is really her glow up.
Full circle moment.
Speaking of dress codes, you know what I was thinking about the other day when I was on a Zoom call and like I realized because I had my hair pulled over this way and my shirt was maybe like this a bit, like you could see my bra strap, and I noticed that and I was like, oh no, and I went to like cover it up, and then I was like, why do I have to be worried about that? First of all, it's on a fucking Zoom call, so can you like really tell that much? And I was like, if I already have to like wear a bra for work, like, it's no secret that I'm fucking wearing one of these, so why do I feel like I need to hide that? Why do I feel like, oh, I better make sure that because no one can know that I'm wearing a fucking bra? I had a moment there where I was like, you know what, no. I'm gonna leave it out. It was a very small thing.
The whole dress code thing, it's funny because I got in trouble for a dress code thing one time because I was wearing, like, a crop top, but my skirt was, like, a high-waisted skirt, so it came up to my belly, so, like, nothing really showed, but a teacher that was like really outspoken about the bracket and like how it was bad is the one who got me in trouble for that. So I'm just like, honey, I think that was before the bracket though, so whatever.
Maybe after she would have been like, you wear whatever the fuck you want to wear.
Yeah.
All right, is that it? Do you have anything else?
I don't. I hope that y'all liked this episode.
Well, everyone, if you are listening on Spotify, make sure you go to our podcast homepage and that you subscribe so that way we show up on your homepage every single Monday. If you're listening on Apple Pods, make sure once again you are subscribed and you leave us a 5-star rating and review if you are so inclined. We got to combat that 1-star rating, people. If you are watching on YouTube, make sure that you subscribe and hit the notification bell. Those videos go live every single Monday at the same time that our episodes drop. You can catch us on there. I know we're on a bunch of other platforms. I mean, you should know how to operate those as well. Just make sure you're subscribing wherever you're listening. Follow us on TikTok at Popcorn Chats Pod. Make sure that you're checking that out. I'm sorry I've been lacking this week, but like I said, I'm taking a bit of a TikTok hiatus. I will make one and get on there and check it. All of Katie and I's personal information is in the bio. Twitters, Instagrams, TikToks. I think I covered the bases, did I?
You did amazing, sweetie. I guess I'm not going to link the Kyra's film stuff this time, but just be on the lookout for that, guys. It's coming soon. Thank you again to people who have pre-ordered. I'm sorry. You will see the film. Don't worry. See you next week for my birthday. Little women in the city. Women, yeah. It's my real birthday, so get ready to wish me a happy birthday.
Happy birthday from all of us to you. Alrighty, everyone. Lilas.